told what to think, if you want to be told who your candidate is, if you want no choice at all, you can join the Democratic Party. If you want a choice in who your candidate's going to be, you're in the right building. Now, I want to say, if you love Rand Paul or any of the candidates, you need to be registered Republican to participate in our caucus. Now, we don't have a primary, and a lot of you I see are younger. Maybe this is your first time voting, and some of you look like you're in high school. If you're 17 right now, and you're going to turn 18 by election day, you can not only participate in the general election, but you can participate in the caucus on February 23rd. So if you are not registered to vote, I know that there's some people in the back of the room that may be doing it, but you can also come next door anytime. That's our office for the Republican Party. We'd love to have you in there. We'd love to get you involved, and we need to make sure that you and your friends are registered Republican. So if there's anything you can do that, if you want to tell your friends to participate, you need to register Republican. So thank you so much for being here. Again, my name's Autumn Khan, and I'm the county chair. I'd love to meet all of you, but right now I'm going to introduce an assembly candidate in Assembly District 25, and her name is Jennifer Terhune. Please give her a round of applause.
Wow, thank you all for coming. This is an awesome turnout. My name is Jennifer Terhune. I'm, as Autumn mentioned, running for Assembly District 25. I'm a conservative candidate in that race. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay.
Like a lollipop, but don't
I
like
am
it.
here to ask every Nevadan to listen to the man I have the honor to introduce today. He's a man who stands for the principles our country was founded on, the principles our country needs, now more than ever. Dr. Rand Paul, unlike many other candidates, has actually passed laws in the United States Senate. He has fought the establishment where needed, but he's also worked well with other Republicans and Democrats to accomplish an increase in liberty and have the government do its job. Many of you will remember when Rand Paul rose to prominence in the United States Senate, filibustering the Patriot Act. Thanks to his leadership on that important issue of personal freedom, the most intrusive government spying program of United States citizens has been drastically rolled back without endangering our national security. Thank you, Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul has a tax plan that will actually reduce the size of the federal government, not just cut some imaginary budget in 20 years. He's the only candidate who even talks about the huge elephant in the room that is the Federal Reserve System and our broken monetary system. Dr. Paul understands that national security is a key focus of our government, and he advocates for a robust national defense while preserving the liberties here at home for which our veterans made the ultimate sacrifice. He's not a misplaced TV star or an idealist new to the game. Dr. Rand Paul is a proven leader who has bold ideas that would lead America back to where it's supposed to be, the leader of a free and prosperous world. Freedom is important to Dr. Paul, just like it is to us here in Nevada. Liberty has a home here in the Silver State, and we are honored to welcome Senator Rand Paul.
Thank you. Are there any lovers of liberty in the house? Anybody here want the government just to leave you the heck alone? I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is your government's open. The bad news is your government's open. Your government's open and borrowing $1 million every minute. And your liberty is at risk. I think your liberty is most at risk when people are fearful. After this recent attack, people on the left say, if we only had gun control, we could stop these attacks. Gun control only works on law-abiding citizens. If you're going to commit suicide in the act, my guess is you don't care too much whether you get a fine later on. A background check for weapons doesn't help if you're going to commit one crime and one crime only, and that's a suicide crime. But on the right, we have people who want people control. Left wants gun control. The right, they want people control. They want you all to give up your information. They say, we're going to make you safe if we just know everything about you. We need to collect your phone records, your credit card information. If we just can collect all your information, we'll be safe. Guess what? We've been doing it. We've been doing it for a decade, and you know how many cases of terrorism we've stopped with the bulk collection of your phone records? 0. No cases have been stopped. It's not working, and it is an invasion of your privacy. Now, they say to us, well, we're collecting your information, but we're not looking at it. Now, the only problem with that is the people telling us that are also the same people who said they weren't collecting it at all. When James Clapper came before the Senate, he was asked, are you collecting all of the records of Americans, all of their phone records? And he said no. But he was telling a lie. And now we're expected to believe them when they say, trust us, we're not going to look at your information. But let's assume even we do trust them and they're not reading or looking at all of your records, they're just collecting it. One of the things we fought the revolution over, this is what John Adams said was the spark that led to the revolution, was James Otis's fighting against generalized warrants. Generalized warrants where the warrants were written by soldiers, not judges, and there was no one's name on the warrant. They went from house to house to see if people had paid their tax. Do you think that our founding fathers would have been, I guess, okay with it if they said, well, we're just collecting your papers, but we're not going to read them? I don't think that's acceptable. I think the invasion of your privacy is actually in the collection of your records. What can we tell from your phone records? 85% of the time we can tell your religion by who you call. Nearly 100% of the time we can tell who your doctors are, what your medicines are, and what diseases or illnesses you have. There's no reason for the government to have all that information. You can catch terrorists by collecting more information on terrorists and less information from innocent Americans. In fact, I think that we are actually less safe by collecting all the data. We get overwhelmed with all of the data. We aren't doing enough research into the people who would attack us. For example, the first thing you want to do if you want to defend your country from terrorism, you have to know who's coming to visit. We have to have more controls on those who come into our country to say, who are you, what are your purposes, and when are you leaving? All of the 19, or actually there were 21 hijackers that came on 9/11. One of them was stopped by an alert immigration officer who said, your story doesn't make sense, and they sent him back home. He never got in. One of them we caught was a French citizen by the name of Massawi who came in here with a visa waiver. A visa waiver means anybody in Europe can come in here without much scrutiny at all. The problem is Europe's got this enormous problem now. All of the attackers in Paris were French citizens. There's going to have to be some kind of checking of those who want to come and visit us, because that has been where the real risk is. But I think in protecting ourselves, we don't have to give up all of our rights and give up all of our privacy. As much as I'm an advocate for privacy, if you came to me and you said, well, we have this boy from Chechnya, this Sonarev boy, the Russians have said, you know, there's suspicion. We think he's been radicalized. He's flown back to Chechnya, and we have 2 or 3 other open sources that we can say, this guy may be a terrorist. I'm okay with giving a warrant for him. I'm okay with giving a warrant to look at the phone calls he's made. But I'm not okay with giving a warrant to look at all of Boston's records or all of America's records. If we give up who we are in the process of defending against terrorism, will it have been worth it? We have to have these tough decisions. In the midst of a crisis, in the midst of something that provokes fear, like the recent attack, there is a clamor to give up your liberty, to trade your liberty for a false sense of security. There is also a clamor amongst the candidates, and you could see it last night. Each one of them wants to assure you that they are more eager for war than the guy next to him. Think about what Chris Christie said. He is eager to shoot down Russian planes in the Middle East. That is the dumbest thing I've heard. We have had great presidents, Republican and Democrat, who were wise people, who showed judgment, who showed restraint, who thought that war is the last resort, not the first resort. We have to be very careful about people, and virtually everyone else on the stage is for a no-fly zone over there. Well, if you have a no-fly zone in an area where Russia already flies, you are pledging to shoot Russian planes down. Think about how Russia got there. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying it's a thing we have no control over at this point. Russia got there because Iraq invited them. Think about it. We lost 5,000 soldiers in Iraq. We spent $1 trillion. And who's Iraq's best friend? Iran. Who's their second best friend? Russia. What we have to ask, and I think it was a pretty good job last night, is has our foreign policy worked in the past several decades? Has toppling secular dictators made us safer? I mean, the theme of the debate last night was, what's going to make us safer? But you know, I don't think toppling Gaddafi in Libya made us safer. But you know who agrees with that? Who thought toppling Gaddafi was a good idea? Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush. See, it crosses both parties. And what our candidacy is about what my candidacy is giving you a choice, someone who wants a strong national defense but is not eager for war and is not sending us back to another war with 500,000 soldiers in the Middle East. What I'm talking about is a candidacy that is not going to bankrupt the country. We have to have a strong national defense, but we can't just simply say we're going to add $1 trillion to national defense. Where's it going to come from? We have to say, where are we spending the money now? Do you know that we probably waste 5% of the Defense Department expenditures on green projects? You know that we built a $43 million gas station in Afghanistan? A natural gas station. We want to show them how green we are. Well, number one, they don't have cars over there. Very few people have a car, and no one has a car that runs on natural gas. So we built this to show how green we are, but it's $43 million that could go to pay our soldiers, buy equipment for our soldiers, or help them if they're wounded. We can't continue to waste money on all of this sort of, we're going to brag about how green we are. Do you know that when Benghazi was raging and they were asking for an airplane, they couldn't find an airplane? They had asked for an airplane 6 months in advance. Hillary Clinton says, oh, we don't have enough money. But you know what they did have enough money for in the State Department? They had enough money to send 24 Chevy Volts, which you all paid for. They're all subsidized by the taxpayer. We sent them to Austria. They got them there, and of course, because this is the government, they didn't have the right plugs. So they spent $100,000 building an electrical charging station at the Vienna embassy. Meanwhile, they were denied having a DC-3 in Libya. So when push comes to shove, and if you haven't read the book 13 or seen the movie, read it. I mean, it is just amazing and sad what was happening to our guys over there who weren't given the proper... They were begging for a plane. They had to beg and barter for a plane in the midst of that crisis to send the reinforcements over to Benghazi. When they're leaving, these guys have been in a firefight all night long. They're exhausted. They've been fighting for 12 hours straight. They've probably been up for 24 hours straight. When they're trying to leave, the plane can't carry them all out. They're having to wait for a second plane. But the State Department under Hillary Clinton had enough money to spend $5 million on crystal barware and glassware for our embassies. They spent $700,000 on landscaping for the Brussels embassy. They spent $100,000 sending 3 comedians to India on the Make Chai Not War tour. All along in Benghazi, you know what they were saying, though? They were saying to our soldiers, and this is from Hillary Clinton, because these are people who don't believe in the Second Amendment, and they don't like guns. They don't like guns even in the military. They said the Libyans are freedom fighters, and we don't want to have guns around them because they will think we don't trust them. Well, you're damn right we shouldn't have trusted them. The ambassador was being protected by the February 17th militia, a bunch of local freedom fighters. They saw one of them taking pictures that morning and getting GPS coordinates, and then they were gone. They were nowhere to be seen. They would show up after the fighting was done and say, here we are. But they weren't reliable. We have to think about how we best defend our country. It does require some money. It does require national defense. But it can't be a blank check. It can't be unlimited money. And it can't be this whole idea that regime change is going to make us safer in the Middle East. The one thing that happened last night with the debate, though, is it was for the first time, I think, a really substantive debate over whether or not regime change is a good idea or a bad idea. When we think about moving forward, I think the number one threat to our country is our debt. You can't be a strong country. You cannot project power from bankruptcy court. But we have to rethink what we're doing with our money. I think at the very least, as we spend money around the world, maybe we should just quit sending money to countries that hate us. You think? We could have a rule that if people in your country are burning our flag, if people in your country are chanting death to America, maybe we don't send you any money. All right? At the very least, we could start there. And you would be surprised. We send the money all around the world. We've left more money in Afghanistan than we did for the Marshall Plan. We spent $800,000 last year in Afghanistan developing a televised cricket league.
What?
All right. First of all, they don't have TVs, okay? So they're not going to be able to watch the cricket league. But even if they did, what business is it of ours to be developing a televised cricket league for them? We build things that blow them up. We build things that blow them up over there. Afghanistan has never been a country. There is not a mission for us there. There was originally. I agreed with going there, and I agreed with going after bin Laden, and I'm happy we got him. I'm happy we wiped out the leadership of the people who attacked us on 9/11. But there's no mission left. And then we ended up having this tragedy, you know, the hospital. And I don't blame our soldiers, but I do blame our leaders for still being there. And I think we have to make decisions. I do have a unique candidacy, and it's different than any other Republican and any other Democrat. We have a chance to win in Nevada. Nevada's a big part of us. We can't go forward unless we win some of the early primaries. In Nevada, 13,000 votes can win your caucus. It's very small. If everyone in this room goes out and gets 10 friends or 20 friends, we can win Reno. So it is a matter of hard work. I hope you'll see that the time is growing short for our country. I hope you'll see that if we don't do something soon, we're going to lose everything that did make this country great and continues to make this country great. I'll keep fighting for you. I hope you'll fight for me. Thanks for coming out today.
So if you want to take a picture with the senator, we're going to be making a line up and down. Media, go ahead and come on back here. If you have credentials, come on back here. So he's going to do media, then you'll come out. While they're doing media, please get in a line back and forth, and everyone will get the opportunity to take a picture. Yeah, let's go and start.